is the University of Michigan.
Touchdown, Michigan!
And midcourt, extra pass.
And it goes for the win! The three-pointer by Jordan Poole!
Down the sideline! Peoples-Jones! Touchdown, Wolverines!
All right, welcome back to Blue by 90. I am Justin, joined by Jack and Kaylin as always. It is Tuesday, February 23rd, and the sun is shining. It was like 45 degrees today. Beautiful day after it was 10 degrees all week last week, it seemed like, here in Ann Arbor. But you know what? It feels like the sun's been shining for like a week straight, and I think that half of it is just my mind playing the games on me because I'm in a fantastic mood after Michigan beat Ohio State on Sunday.
What a game. What a game. Blowout, made some money on the game. Lost it all yesterday, but I made some money on that game, so it was great. It was a great fun time on Sunday.
It was funny because I joined Jack to watch the game, and like we were pretty hyped up in general for the game, but it wasn't until it ended that Jack was like, "Yeah, hell yeah!" like won all his money. I was like, "Damn, I haven't seen you move that much since we used to play baseball."
I placed a $1 bet, and it was plus 3,300 odds that both teams would score over 85.5 points. So once that dude hit that 3 at the end of the game to get to 87, I was just like, fuck yeah, let's go.
They hit like 7 threes at the end of the game, too. That dude just straight up could not miss. And you're like, I mean, first of all, you should – that's a wild bet.
I was rooting for
to
Ohio
bet.
State. Oh, yeah. I was like, oh, these
bet.
odds. I'll put $1 on it. I'll be fine. And I was rooting for Ohio State to score at the end because Michigan was up already like way over 85. So I'm just like, come on, shoot it. He hit it, and I just went fucking nuts, man. It was gambling's taking over.
I held off. I actually didn't bet on it. I don't like to bet on games that I like truly care a ton about because I'd rather just like focus on my team. But yeah, I mean, that was one of the best basketball games I may have ever watched. Like in general, it was just neither team could miss. But it still wasn't like sloppy defense. It was just both teams were shooting the absolute lights out. And then, you know, especially in the first half, and then in the second half, Hunter Dickinson just is a man amongst boys. And, oh, my God, the one dunk where he's in the middle of 4 dudes.
Loved it.
Just slams it home. I was like, you are a god.
Dude, Hunter had a huge game. That got me hyped up, man. That got me so hyped.
Oh, it was awesome. Yeah, he was in the paint. He was doing it all, man. I mean, I also just loved seeing some of the guys on the perimeter get their shots in too. I mean, they seemed to be just, especially in the first half, like you're saying, like they couldn't miss. I think they showed the stats, and it was something ridiculous. They were like 8 for 11.
Yeah. So I tweeted it out the other day too. It was unbelievable. Like Ohio State shot 47% from the field, and then 50% from 3, 92% from the free throw line, and still lost. Honestly, It was like that was one of the best losing performances by a team. I don't want to give Ohio State credit because fuck them, but that was one of the best performances I've ever seen from a losing team. And Michigan, like that's what made it all the more impressive to me. Michigan didn't go into Columbus and beat a team that was like off that day. They beat that team who played probably their best game all year, right? And Ohio State runs and guns. That's their game. They're gonna try to outscore you. They really play very similarly to their football team. But thankfully, Michigan basketball could keep up and actually score more points than Ohio State. So. But I mean, that was the most impressive part to me was that like they actually went in and beat that team that played one of their better games. It wasn't like Ohio State had an off day. What was your guys like most impressive thing or most thing that stood out to you guys in that game? Because there was a lot.
I'm not gonna lie, I got a little nervous at first when it felt like Livers was kind of forcing some stuff. like that made me a little bit nervous. I was like, all right, if this is going to happen the entire game, like I don't know how great of a chance we have to win. Then he started passing the ball a little bit. He made a 3, got in the right rhythm, and everything was just like great. I mean, the shooting from 3-point was insane. They just played they played their best game of the season. Man, I just loved it all. I loved that they just stayed in it and fought. I think they led majority of the game, 90% of the game.
I would love to go back and see. Usually they put the little stat up, but there had to be like 15 or so lead changes, right? I mean, it was back and forth.
It was a close game, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, for Ohio State to score that, to do that well on offense and still lose is just awesome. Because you're going to see teams like that, like Gonzaga and Baylor in the tournament, and it's can you keep up? And Michigan kept up against Ohio State.
Yeah, that was great to see. Yeah, I mean, there was maybe some moments early in the second half where we were taking some shots where I was like, there was maybe 2 consecutive shots, deep threes or something, and I was kind of like, I don't know. And now that we missed, they're kind of back in the game a little bit. But I mean,
thought the same thing, Kalen. There. Sorry to interrupt you, but I thought the same thing. I was like, okay, there's no chance that we're gonna shoot as hot in the second half as we were in the first, but we were still chucking them up at the beginning of the second half like we were in the first half. So I was thinking the same thing.
Yeah, but I mean, then we went right back to our bread and butter, moving the ball around, getting the ball to a big guy in the paint. We were able to kind of capitalize. So I was glad to see us able to kind of, struggle in one part, identify that we were struggling, and move into something that worked.
So I want to bring up something for a second. Just on social media, I mean, we put up the basketball school shirts and hoodies and whatnot. Did you guys see any other like backlash about that? I just like football people like, oh, we're still a football school, but basketball is just hot right now. Yeah, just people like kind of hating on the fact that basketball is having success.
I saw on Twitter, it was like Sparties that wanted to chirp in and be like, oh, you only have 4 banners? Ban them there. Like, shut the fuck up, personally. But yeah, it was just because like Spartans were just feeling really irrelevant on Sunday, and because not a single person in the whole world cares about Michigan State basketball right now. But I did not. I think it was on our Instagram, right? Like a couple people commented like, okay, what has football done for you? Like, why do you give a shit about our football?
Especially half our followers are probably 15 years old. You haven't seen a good Michigan season other than 2011.
No shit.
In your entire life.
Christ. I'm like, come on, man. That just kind of bothered me. But when you're talking about Michigan State being irrelevant and whatnot, I'm kind of rooting for them tonight against Illinois.
I know. It's like. It's this thing. It's an inner battle for myself because obviously I want Illinois to win because that essentially like if Illinois loses one more game, I mean it would be really difficult for Michigan not to win the Big Ten championship. But the last thing I want is for Sparty to like squeak into the tournament somehow with a late March run here. That would hurt me, I think.
Oh man, I'd be fine with them getting into the tournament. I mean, as long as they don't play Middle Tennessee State, they might be all right. But I don't know. I think I got to root for a Sparty win tonight.
Yeah, it would definitely help. It would help
us.
I mean, like that would seal the deal essentially. Not officially, but essentially would seal the deal for Michigan in a Big Ten championship. Because Michigan could even go out, lose to Iowa, lose to Illinois, and they're still a game ahead of Illinois, so
right.
That's where it would be huge. So yeah, but I mean, this, what? Why would we not want to be a basketball school right now? This team, give them props. Right. This is the most fun team to watch like ever. If you think about, let's put the 2 sports together. Let's rank the top 5 most fun teams or best teams to watch, and out of the last 10 years or something. I'm gonna say 2020 basketball this year. I'm gonna say.
Is that number 1?
No, this is not
5.
ranked. I'm just giving like
order. All right.
I'm naming some of the best teams.
Yeah.
So, 2018 basketball.
For sure.
2013 basketball.
Mm-hmm.
maybe 2014 basketball with Stauskas too.
Big Ten champs.
And then the only thing that comes to mind for me is like in terms of, 2016 and 2018 football, but
not 2011.
Yeah, I guess
that's 10 years ago now.
I do like the.
That's
the
like
2016.
It's like
I do like the 2016.
Yeah.
Because they at least were close in like their last 2 games.
Right.
Or in all their losses. But I might have to put 2011 in there over them just because Denard.
True.
Other than that, I agree with the rest.
I didn't feel like, for football, I would say like I didn't feel in 2011 like Michigan was like going like possibly going to win the Big Ten and possibly going to go to the national
playoff or something. Yeah. Okay, I'm with you.
But either way, like in terms of fun to watch, all these basketball teams are so fun to watch.
Dude, so
like,
fun.
And the guys are so much more likable than some of the guys on the football team too.
And dude, we're getting so many more like athletic, like way more athletic guys coming in. If Juwan Howard can get them to play like this team is playing now, plus all that athleticism, it'll be like a fucking all-star weekend watching these guys play.
Dude, talking about likable guys on the basketball team, can we talk about Chaundi Brown?
The most likable guy of all time.
Oh my God, that's like my favorite Wolverine right now. When he had that play where he like tipped the ball, he had like 3 rebounds and 1 possession.
Oh my
I was
God.
literally like, dude, this is like watching Dennis Rodman.
Yeah, fuck yeah.
It really was. That's a great comparison. I love that comparison, especially because he was rebounding those in Ohio State's big men. They had like 3 big dudes right around him, and he's still out rebounding him just because he's a freaking ball hawk and he doesn't give up. It's really impressive. And then he goes on his IG live after the game. Fuck the Bucks. I'm like,
I
dude,
love
you
that.
are sealing the deal as the favorite Wolverine right now.
Oh man.
Would you guys want to see Michigan play Ohio State again this year, like Big Ten tournament or the NCAA tournament? I would. That game was so fun to watch.
Oh yeah, yeah. I would have hated to lose that game though. That would have been
right.
We would be feeling a lot.
That would be the only thing that would make me not want to watch it. Would be the fact that I think they're good enough to, on the right day, come out on top.
Yeah.
Yeah, if Michigan doesn't keep up and shoot it's crazy to say that because like both teams shot the absolute lights out, right? So you could say it for both teams. Like if they meet again, I highly doubt they're both going to shoot 50% from 3, right?
Right.
But so it would be interesting to see them play again and see how that game would go if they even went like 35 or 40% from 3. If it's different.
And something else I wanna talk about too is like I feel like we've seen Juwan really solidify his rotation on the basketball court too. We haven't really seen Zeb Jackson, Terrence Williams, who's another. Really those 2 guys were kind of like the last in line to get on the court.
Brandon
really
Johns even hasn't seen much PT lately either.
Not as much, but when he does well. I wish he would have. There was one where he was wide open at the 3 and he kind of hesitated and then pulled it and he missed. But if he plays confident, he's so good.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what we were saying, Jack, that he just seems to lack that confidence. And when he is confident, he just,
Dude,
he's a baller.
So good. So good.
Yeah. Those guys, I still think that he could work himself into the rotation a lot more even next year. It's tough. It's tough for him just because he's a tweener. He's not a 5, but he's not a 4. Like Livers plays a much better 4 than he does. So maybe he can step in when Livers goes to the league, and that could be he could be that playing some more at the 4. But he's just a tweener. It's really tough. But yeah, there's a chance. So the other unsung hero. First of all, I think there's a couple things to talk about in the game on Sunday, which was how about just the fact that like Livers only went for 12 and Franz only had 9 and Michigan still won by scoring 90 some points.
Dude, Eli Brooks quietly had 17 points.
Yeah, like I looked up the stats in the fourth or late in the second half and I was like, he has 17. I knew he hit a ton of threes right away, but it didn't seem like he was like drilling threes all game long,
No, it was right away. I remember he nothing but net, fucking just wet right in the rim. I was shocked by it, but I mean, it gave Michigan such momentum and confidence going into the rest of that game because, I mean, you miss those shots, and Ohio State probably goes on a huge run.
Hey, I'll take them. That's one of those surprises that you're glad to have.
Yeah, and it's another thing too that we've said before is like one guy, doesn't play as well as they normally do, and another guy steps up, and that's what Eli Brooks did. I mean, it's huge, and Mike Smith too. He had some big shots in that game.
That was who I was gonna say was the unsung hero. Is Mike Smith is just that dude because it's never about Mike Smith, right?
Mm-mm.
But he is involved in every single play. He's so important to this team. He had a ton of assists. This is a knock on wood situation, but damn, I would love to go back and look at his stats. He's got to have like 1 or 2 turnovers a game. Like it's that low. It's very low in terms of turnovers, which is very impressive for a team like Michigan that is trying to run and gun, and they push the ball a lot. But he's special, and I think that there's a chance that he comes back actually next year.
So I didn't realize that he could come back until I saw something like I think Ant Wright put it out that he could come back for a second year. I just thought grad transfers had 1 year and they were done.
No, so I mean this is a situation. Well, it's this year only because this year doesn't count against eligibility.
Oh, I thought it was last season for basketball.
Well, they did it for this. They did it for this entire calendar year to be fair across all sports because they didn't know how each sport would be affected. But they did it for every sport for the entire calendar year for
You love it. Love to see it.
That would be wild if he comes back because but at the same time, I would love to see Zeb Jackson because I think Zeb Jackson's going to be sweet. But is he going to be ready in the
yeah, I was going to say, is he going to be ready? Like he's got definitely a bunch of talent, but is he going to be ready next year? And if he can have one more year with Mike Smith there, just kind of like groom him, and that'll be great. And honestly, I don't know, man. I don't know about Zeb. I think he's talented, but he didn't really, show a whole lot this year. And you got Frankie Collins coming in next year, who's super highly touted. Kobe Buffkin, I don't know if he's a point guard or a shooting guard, but he is a McDonald's All-American. I mean, there's a lot of talent coming in at the guard position, so you never know what's going to happen.
So I heard Kobe Buffkin fractured his wrist, or has like a hairline fracture in his wrist.
Really? I didn't hear that.
Well, that sucks.
But I did see, so the McDonald's All-American rosters came out today. 3 of Michigan's incoming freshmen next year.
And they hadn't had any in the last 17 years.
And there's only 1 in the rest of the Big Ten. How about that? That is a wild. I mean, you've got one of the best teams in the nations, and then now you're coming like this is what you have coming in. It's like, amazing. Do we have space for them? I don't know.
Who cares? Stock them up.
I don't care. We can be the Alabama of college basketball. We would just have like depth on depth on depth.
That'd be amazing, dude. If we can just run the Big Ten, then we have something. Then we're really just a fucking basketball school, and people will just have to accept it. We all want football to do well, but I mean, like basketball's clearly been running away with it for the last decade. Why can't people just accept that and be okay with it?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't understand why anybody would say like, no, we're not. Like, what? I didn't see any of the comments or anything, so like, I guess I'm.
Well, we got called fair weather fans for saying it's a basketball school.
Fair weather fans.
What does that mean? I don't even know what that means.
We're only fans of Michigan football when they're doing well.
It doesn't mean that we don't like Michigan football.
Right. It's just that
first of all,
basketball's killing it.
It's not like we reported on it every week while they went 2-4. So
yeah, no shit. Yeah, and you know what? We are a basketball school.
We are, man.
Like, tell me over the past decade who's had more success. Tell me over the past 15 years. Like, dude, come on. You can't tell me that this is like that it's even up for debate. Like, yeah, Michigan will always be somewhat of a football school just because it's in the tradition.
The tradition and all that, yeah.
But like, this is no longer just like 3 or 4 years of success for basketball. We're going on 15 years since Beeline first came in, and they've not had a ton of success.
Isn't that crazy that literally they hired one coach who seems to have shifted the entire paradigm of the program? That's insane.
Well,
who are you referring to there?
I was thinking Beeline.
Okay, good. Yes. Yeah, Beeline laid the groundwork and Juwan just accelerated it. Right? Like, it's awesome.
Well, that's what I was going to add to that is, like, it's just truly incredible that we were able to go from Beeline to Howard without skipping a beat. And,
amazing.
I mean, the fact that when you do compare it to football and go back to Rich Rod, Brady Hoke, like, and even now into Harbaugh, like, still struggling to find the guy. And then on the basketball court, you're able to find two unbelievable guys that are, not only just great men. Like this, there have been times where I'm like watching Juwan Howard in the locker room of a couple of the videos we've posted on Blue by 90, and I'm like almost tearing up a little bit. Like, dude, he gets me emotional. Like, just because it feels like he's like truly that good of a guy. And obviously a pretty good coach, knows what the hell he's doing too.
Doesn't hurt that he's a good coach as well.
So I had a question about Juwan Howard in terms of coaching, and maybe you can kind of shed some light on it for us here, Justin. Like, when I was watching the game, there was a number of times where Juwan was kind of, on the side of the court, and he's like yelling at his players, blah, blah, blah. Like, what kinds of things is he telling them? Is he telling them where to be on the court? Is he telling them, like, what play to run? Like, maybe you know more than I do.
Yeah, I think a lot of it is the plays. So I know that, there was a whole thing where he like took something out of his pocket that was a rectangular shape that people thought was his phone, but it's actually his little play sheet. So they definitely have plays that are specific to the team. Like, they have their plays that they would run anyway. But they have sets that they're running against Ohio State. So I think he's yelling at them to like get in position, run the offensive plays, and then, but also like on the defensive side of the ball, if they're running a zone versus a man, who's guarding who, especially with different lineups in. And then I think half of it is just like he's yelling to keep the intensity up and just be like, hands up, move, like those types of things too. Because he's super into it on that. Like, that was his whole, the Pat Beverly. There's a Pat Beverly that he was that he held the picture of last year that was like
PJ Tucker.
PJ Tucker, that's right. Where like he's like telling them to communicate. So okay. I mean, it's a combination of all of them. I would say on the offensive side, more play running. On the defensive side, it's like get your hands up and like, keep moving at all times.
For sure. The more you know.
The more you know. And I'm not like, I truly am not a huge like basketball X's and O's guy. I could do X's and O's for football a lot, but I'm not huge into basketball X's and O's. When I play basketball, I usually have no idea where I should stand. So
just throw it up to the hoop.
I just dug it up from like 30 feet and then sprint to go rebound because it's not going in.
I just like yell Euro step and then I like run to the rim from the free throw line.
Sometimes tear an ACL or MCL.
Yeah, then I just fall like Peter Griffin.
Like Peter Griffin. Yeah. So, all right. Well, so hoops, they play Thursday night, right, against Iowa. So Iowa's still a top 10 team, even though they dropped
number 9.
They've actually played really well, especially on the defensive side of the ball lately. So, I saw something where they were like earlier in the season giving up like 90 points a game, 80, 90 points a game. And then in their past 5, I don't think they've let anybody pass 70. So they've really stepped it up. I think that people are kind of overlooking them a little bit just because it's like between Ohio State and Illinois and Michigan for the Big Ten, because Iowa has lost some of those games. But it's not like Iowa's some chump team. Luka Garza
they're not a
still go off
cupcake.
for 40. Yeah.
Right. And they've got a couple shooters too. I mean, if they get hot, they can really go off on a team. It's going to be a tough game. That's for sure. I feel a lot more confident after the Ohio State game, but it'll still be tough. And we still got Iowa, Illinois, Indiana's always a tough game right after. I think it's like 48 hours after the Iowa game. So it's traveling to Indiana, getting the team ready. And then you got Illinois after that. And then, Sparty's always a rivalry game. And I'm almost kind of like, maybe we split those.
I wouldn't doubt it if they split them. I also wouldn't doubt if Michigan wins the first one, and then it's like if that wins them the Big Ten title or something, maybe Juwan sits some guys. It's tough. I don't know if he will because it's a rivalry game.
Would. Yeah, just because it's a rivalry game. But I'd be okay with it.
If it was anybody else, he probably would.
Yeah.
But especially just because by the end of that, they're going to be tired. It's a lot of games that they have in the next 2 or 3 weeks. So, and then leading up to obviously a crazy tournament time too.
Yeah.
So we'll see how it goes. But either way, dude, I don't know about you guys, but Sunday I was like fired up leading up to the game, like it was a football game day. And then I'm not gonna lie, I Sunday fun dayed harder than most football tailgates. So I woke up Monday morning not feeling great.
I agree. I'm right there with you.
Yeah. So all right. So now since we are still, I guess, a football school according to some Instagram commenters, we will touch on the football team still here. There is a lot to talk about. They started off spring practice yesterday, Monday. And then, there's some transfer news, there's some coaching news, things like that. There's a lot going on. So the first one that I want to talk about is bringing in a quarterbacks coach who has never coached quarterbacks.
I know.
One day before your 5-star quarterback starts his first spring practice. Anybody else like, what the hell are we doing?
I don't love it. But honestly, I haven't done enough research on this guy. Was it Matt Weiss?
Yeah, he's been with the Ravens for 12 years. He
was their RB coach, right?
Yeah, but he's coached he's been like an offensive analyst. He's coached the safeties, the linebackers. He's coached like all over the place. So I get it. I mean, if you're a football guy, you know a lot of things. I think he's also more like an analyst guy, like using data and like stats and tech, all that stuff, which maybe that helps. I don't know.
Well, see, I feel like I saw a bunch of like accounts put some information up, but UMich football, like official Instagram said, welcome our new QB coach, Matt Weiss. So then I was like, oh shit, like, all right, well then he's the guy. Not saying he's gonna be bad, not saying he's gonna be great, but it's just interesting to me that he is a running backs coach that's gonna coach quarterbacks.
Yeah, I'm curious if this is kind of like a title in name only. Like, is he really going to be coaching quarterbacks, like on the floor coaching the quarterbacks? Because my understanding was that he coached receivers and QBs with the Ravens in like 2016, 2017. And then he was put in this category of like football strategist, like coordinating strategy or something like that. So I was like, maybe he's really going to be one of these guys who's just young, brings a bunch of new ideas to the staff, maybe like helps out Harbaugh with the quarterbacks. But beyond that, he's helping coordinate a lot of the like game day play calling, which they seem to have struggled tremendously with for the last couple of years.
Well, that makes me wonder why they wouldn't just name him an offensive like analyst or something.
Well, if you're an analyst, you can't be on the field.
Oh, really?
Oh.
Yeah. You only get 10 coaches on the field.
Taylor with the facts.
Oh,
I did not know that.
No, I didn't either. But so the other move that I thought was weird or interesting that I don't think they came out and said, but it's been rumored, is that Bellamy is moving to be a defensive coach and coach like the corners or something.
Right.
What about Mo?
I don't know. Obviously, he's still the safeties coach, but I don't know.
He was the safeties coach. Okay,
Well,
I thought
I don't know. I think they had him over. I think everyone assumed he'd just be defensive backs in general. I don't know. I think they were lopsided. This would have put them lopsided, like they had way too many offensive guys and not enough defensive guys. So maybe they said, okay, Bellamy, you're really just a glorified recruiter anyway.
Well, I feel like I feel like going from wide receivers to DBs is a good transition, at least, right? Like the other side of the ball they're trying to defend. Might be a good spot. I don't hate it.
Yeah. So what? Bellamy is going to assist Mo, with the secondary. Is that correct?
Apparently, that's what it sounds like.
I don't know. I honestly don't know. I feel
so
like
what? George Hilo's moving to the linebackers, I guess.
Well, that would make sense because we got to replace Brian G. Mary. But I don't know, honestly. It seems like this is kind of a thrown together staff. And he was just like, hey, let's take 6 of the Ravens coaches and just kind of plug them
Seriously.
in.
Dude, I swear Jim Harbaugh just put like some of those like ads out on like like football recruiter coaching websites.
Yeah.
Like, are you under 30 and looking for a new gig? Like, or under 40, whatever. Yeah.
Not one person on the defensive staff has coordinator experience. Not even just play calling experience, coordinator experience. So that's where I'm like, what the heck is going on? And I'm just, so how I've kind of thought about it is like, okay, I'm okay with like taking a shot on a couple young guys that could be the next Joe Brady type, whether it's offense or defense, but then surrounding those guys with like experienced guys. But now you're like taking a shot that 90% of your staff is going to be Joe Brady. And like there's a slim fucking chance, dude.
This is that 12-team parlay with all the underdogs that like you're probably not going to hit, but if you do, you're winning the fucking national title.
Exactly. Exactly.
Jim Harbaugh put $1 out there.
He did. He's like, no, I put down $1, but if I win, I get $3 million. So let's just go for it.
Plus like 300,000.
Right.
Oh man.
Oh,
dude,
my God.
I swear, because if you're one of these coaches, this is probably an odd coaching staff to be on, right? Because generally, all of these guys have probably been the young buck on staff. And now here they are, and it feels like summer camp, right? Hey, I'm here with all my buddies. Everybody's, my age, and they understand me. Like, maybe there's something to be said for that kind of atmosphere, too.
Well, one thing that I do like about it is that, and this is one thing out of, a bunch of important things, but you got to assume they're all going to bring great energy every day and be excited to show up to work and try to be the coach that makes that difference where Michigan kind of turns it around. So that gives me hope. Obviously, every offseason, like fucking too much hope, and then they just realize we're a basketball school. But I don't know. We'll see, man. I think Michigan will start off hot in September, and then we'll probably see what we normally see every other year.
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, like, I don't want to say this because I probably will get hyped up, but like, I just feel like I'm gonna have a hard time getting myself excited about this football team because, like, I don't know, I'm gonna have to see something from JJ McCarthy, like he's like truly unbelievable or something to get me hyped, because I just don't have that much faith in what's going on right now because I don't understand it. Quite frankly.
Do you think McCarthy's going to be the starter?
No, but I'm saying like I would have to, like, in order for me to really get in, think this team would be that, he would have to come in and just be like unbelievable and good enough that he's going to get the start. So,
man,
I know what Cade can.
It takes me back to last offseason when the coaches are saying like Milton's just making amazing throws and da. We all got excited, and we're gonna hear it. I'm gonna do my best not to believe any of it, but I gotta imagine McNamara is gonna start the season, and he played well. He played really well last season, I thought. I mean, until he got hurt. So
honestly, he's solid.
To see him start off and be that guy.
Dude, I texted you guys earlier in the week or last week, whatever, and I said this is the least exciting version of the quarterback battle. I mean, we all know Dan Villari's coming out on top. So
that's right, baby.
So don't even watch.
Hell yeah, Villari. We need like a new song for that. We need some hype songs for Villari.
PT Records needs to make a comeback.
Yeah, instead of what Versace, it's Villari.
Versace. Villari.
All right, maybe we can
or
get that
going. A milli. Villari.
Well, shit. While we're talking about quarterbacks, obviously big news: Milton in the transfer portal.
Yeah, we had to see that coming, right? Like I was a little bit thinking
I
he was gonna
wasn't
stick it out.
I wasn't too shocked, but I don't know, man. I mean, good for him. He got his degree. I mean, they said he's a grad transfer, so he got his degree and got out. Great, good for you. You have a degree from a top university in the country. Go play football now.
Dude,
good for him.
3 years of
exactly
eligibility.
right.
Yeah. Where do you guys think he'll land? Place your bets.
Ooh.
Probably like FAU or something like that.
I was thinking like
Probably gets
UCF or something. Yeah, somewhere home like Orlando. I think that's where he's from, Pokey, Orlando kind of area.
UCF is in Orlando, right? Yeah.
Right.
I could see that.
Go play for Gus Malzahn.
I was just gonna say Gus Malzahn is there. They're definitely trying to get him there and just fucking sling it.
That'd be amazing.
Dude,
I'd be a fan.
That's the thing, right? Like NFL will take a chance on a guy with just a huge arm, right? So like I don't doubt that Joe has a chance no matter where he goes. I still think I would love to see him go somewhere where they have like a good history of like developing quarterbacks. So I would love to see him at like I don't know, like an Oklahoma or something crazy, right?
Yeah, but that's where I'm like I'm with you, Keelan, where he like if he was put in a spot like that, but he might not get playing time if he goes to Oklahoma.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, Spencer.
I mean,
Rattler.
they get so many like top quarterback recruits. Like if he goes somewhere like UCF, where he's like still a big quarterback recruit and a big talent, and maybe he just kind of figures it out. He throws a good deep ball, starts hitting like all of his receivers, and kind of just can go crazy. I think that might be a better spot for him. But I'm with you. If he did have the opportunity to go to like an Oklahoma and they can really fine tune him, I mean, he'd be a fucking monster, man.
Yeah. If it wasn't that, then I'm like, just go somewhere where you could play a whole bunch and put out a ton of game film.
I mean, shit. Remember when John O'Corn went to fucking Houston and we thought he was the greatest quarterback of all time, and then he, came to Michigan and didn't play as well.
Dude,
he was probably better off just staying at Houston.
Joe should transfer to Mississippi State and play under Mike Leach, where he's just going to throw the ball 8,000 times a game.
100%.
I would agree with you before last season happened. They started off real hot, and then fucking.
Well, you don't have to win. You just have to put out game film.
Just got to put out game film.
Yeah, he doesn't.
Good point.
At this point, he could care less if he wins, right? He's just trying to make it to the league.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, it's just kind of wild. I put this out we had it on our Twitter right away when Milton transferred, but like last year, dude, I'm so annoyed and sick that we spent an entire fucking offseason talking about McCaffrey versus Milton, and neither of them are here at this point.
I mean, dude, literally every podcast we talked about it. Every single fucking episode. Every guest we had to ask him, who you got? And then neither of them, panned out.
We'd like to apologize to our listeners.
Yes, we deeply apologize. We are sorry. But do you guys see Luke McCaffrey? Speaking of McCaffreys, transferred from Nebraska to Louisville.
Yeah, saw that.
Interesting.
I was wondering why he wasn't going to go with his brother to play for his dad. At wherever.
I mean, I'm shocked he didn't stay at Nebraska. I mean, it would have been his job, I think.
Yeah, I don't know, man.
Interesting.
Weird.
I don't know.
Yeah, but I mean, in more transfer news, Ben Van Sumeren, right?
Yeah, transferring to the old Sparty. Got some people worked up.
Sure did. I
Man,
mean,
some accounts went kind of went in on him. I'm like, guys, like, relax. He's a fucking kid. Literally, he's fucking 20 years old.
He's a fucking backup. Like, he wasn't going to get any playing time, so it's not that big of a deal.
I mean, people were, like, talking shit. I'm like, Jesus, guys. Like, I get it. Like, all right, you're transferring to Sparty, whatever. It's a rivalry. But people were, like, going in, pulling game film. It was kind of crazy on Twitter for a couple days.
I didn't see any of that, but, I mean, that's pretty wild, transferring to your in-state rival. I mean, I know he's from Michigan, though. It's probably still close to home. I'm sure there's a lot of good reasons for it, right?
And Kellen, I liked what you brought up, kind of over the weekend when we were talking about it. Like what is, maybe he just really hated, the environment at Michigan and he just had to get out.
Yeah, no, I mean, maybe he really disliked what the new coaching staff was doing, and he really didn't like how they were utilizing him, and he just went, man, you know what, fuck this, I'm going to your rival, you know. I mean,
yeah,
there's always that possibility. I mean, I was trying to ask myself, like, man, you don't see guys from Ohio State doing this, but then I was like, they have nowhere to go, in state.
And I mean, the only thing is, I agreed with Ant Wright on Twitter where he said, like, what he said is, like, as a former Michigan athlete, he couldn't ever, like, sing the fight song at Michigan, wear those colors, buy in, and then completely flip and go wear those other colors and sing that fight song. When you should have learned in your 3 years here to hate that team, you know?
Yeah.
So I don't know if that's a shot at Van Sumeren, a little bit, I think, but it's also a shot at, like, Jim and the
Michigan
culture.
Yeah.
To say, hey, how do you guys not fucking hate MSU at this point? Like, that speaks to what happened on the field this last year and, like, how they don't even seem to care that much. So, whatever.
I think there's something to look at there. I agree with that.
Great point.
Yeah, I agree with Ant. Like, you shouldn't be able to. It's the same. Who was the fullback or linebacker that went and grad assistant at Ohio State a couple years ago, or even like Greg Madison. Like, I know that's a job and they like doubled your pay, so there's more to it, but like. You don't see Ohio State coaches coming to Michigan, man. Like,
Warner
did, yeah, true.
No longer here, but
yeah.
He took a hiatus from Ohio State before he came here, though.
Yeah, it wasn't.
He had a cool down period.
Oh, I didn't realize that.
He was at Minnesota, right?
Yeah, he was at the PJ Flex.
Oh.
Fighting PJ Flex. Yeah, I don't know. I do think there's something to say there, like, of the culture. Either Van Sumeren wasn't bought in, and or he, like, hated it so much that he wanted to say, fuck you, I'm going to MSU. Where, I mean, again, it's probably a great fit for him because he's going to probably play right away at MSU, you know, but I still just think, like, I would hope, here's my hope as a fan, is that most guys that go to Michigan, if somebody said, like, oh, would you want to ever go to Michigan State? And they'd say, fuck no. Like, that's my hope. I would love to instill in these players.
Right. Yeah. You want the player to go, like, why would you even ask me that question?
Right.
Like, don't even, this interview's over.
Exactly. Like, why can't Jim Harbaugh get these guys to that point? That's my question about it. Like, and you can't get that into every, you know, all 120 guys on the roster every single year. I understand that, but, like, seems like more times than not, it's just kind of like they're there, but there's like not a ton of hatred where there should be.
Yeah, big rivalry.
So, all right. Anything else we should touch on before we sign off today? I know this was kind of a short episode, but we'll try and get one out maybe later this week or this weekend when we watch Michigan basketball play again, because God, I'm excited to watch them play again. They're gonna end the season with what? Every game is gonna be a huge game.
Yeah. I mean, Indiana's technically, look at the schedule, it's not really a big game, but that could be an easy trap game. So it makes it a lot more exciting to watch.
Yeah. You guys got any 0 to 90s?
I got nothing.
Like
pulling something out of my ass.
My 0 to 90 last time was that they're gonna finish the regular season undefeated, and so
you're on track so far.
Knock on wood again.
Yeah.
I got a good one, I think, or an interesting one, I'll say.
All right, do it for the three of us.
There you go.
All right. So we've all become degenerate gamblers now that it's legal in Michigan. And now, after I heard that Jack was putting dollar bets on European soccer, I was like, okay, maybe there's something here. I need to, like, read up on this. So I read up a little bit on English Premier League soccer, and there's something interesting called promotion and relegation. If you come in last place in Premier League soccer, you get dropped down to the Championship League. And if you come in first place in Championship League, you get bumped up to Premier League. I say, let's do that in like FBS and FCS.
I like
college football. So, the North Dakota states get bumped up and they become FBS teams.
I would love to.
I like that a lot.
That's a really interesting idea, right?
I would love. First of all, it's very cool. It's like it makes the stakes unbelievably high at every level because the owners are the ones most affected because you make like a fraction of the money in the Champions League as you do in the top one. So it's like from top to bottom, it's like a huge deal to be in last place, and it's a huge deal to be in first place in the Champions League. And so that aside, though, I'm thinking Big Ten and the MAC.
For extra it up in conferences, why not?
Illinois goes to the MAC or something.
Put them like regionally. I mean, Big Ten MAC right there.
Yeah.
We do Pac-12 Mountain West,
Yeah, I
like that.
I wasn't exactly clear on it because this structure goes like all the way down for like 11 levels. And I was like, so if you're at the very bottom, are you like a kid in high school? Like, I don't understand that part of it. But like, I think if we brought that concept to college football, it would tremendously impact the stakes.
Yeah, maybe we leave it at 2 tiers for now. Power 5, group of 5. And then we, maybe we implement the FCS in there too. I'd like that. That would definitely make it more high stakes. That's for sure.
Yeah. So there you go. There's your new idea of the day.
Thank you for contributing that for us.
Yeah. Thank you so much. No, I love that. I think that would be, imagine like watching an Illinois Rutgers game at the end of the year and one of those teams aren't going to be in the Big Ten next year.
Battle for last place.
And then at the same time you're watching Maction on a Tuesday night and it's like Northern Illinois versus Akron. And one of those teams is going to be in the Big Ten next year.
Dude, that'd be amazing.
Think about the level of momentum a team could gain. Like, you could have a MAC team that wins the MAC, joins the Big Ten, then gets a good recruiting class, and then, like, does well in the Big Ten.
Dude.
Possibly.
Could happen.
Or they get absolutely crushed.
Or they get crushed.
Yeah.
You hope for the best in that scenario.
Yeah.
Yeah, that Michigan playing Ball State or something.
Yeah, exactly. So, all right. Well, that is about all we have for today. So, short one today, but we got a lot of info in there. We'll be back later this week or this weekend or something to talk about Michigan, Iowa, and then is Michigan, Indiana right after that?
Yeah, it's Thursday then Saturday.
Saturday. So only one day in between. I mean, I'm gonna be tired from watching. I can't imagine what these guys are doing.
Yeah.
So they gotta travel to Bloomington, I think, on Saturday.
Yeah.
So that's a tough schedule. So all right. But yeah, we'll have. I'm thinking maybe this weekend after those 2 games we'll have another podcast up and we can talk about hopefully another 2 W's from the Wolverines. As Big Dickinson Energy is leading the charge, obviously. So check out Umish Tees and umishstore.com for all the merch. We've got some new stuff out there, basketball school and some other things that our guy Tristan has been putting up for us. So we'll be putting up more and more there too. So you can follow us at Blue by 90 on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, at Blue by 90 Podcast on YouTube. And outside of that, we will see you next time. Go Blue.
Go Blue.
Go Blue.